Have you guys ever had a Bush Light apple?
Yes, those are
Apple.
gas. I'm drinking my
You-
Guinness.
So I'm not on anything cool here. I thought this was a St. Louis thing.
Oh no,
No,
I've
I'm
had
I've
it
not
never
before.
seen it out here.
real
I had
good.
a
Yeah.
student ask me if I'd had a apple.
Oh.
A student. All right, we got to.
Ken goes,
Don't say anymore.
excuse me?
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Washed Kings podcast, the show where a couple of cousins talk hoops, the NBA, and keep you updated on everything you need to know about your Denver Nuggets. I'm your host, Cam Kennedy, and today the boys and I are going to be going over this wild 2-2 series between the Thunder and the Nuggets, a series making us all lose sleep, getting worked up, making us feel fantastic and awful all at the same time. I got a great panel with me today, including Pat Kennedy. PK, what's up, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. We got Kennedy Phillips, KP in the house. How are you, man?
I'm doing well. I have 4 days of class, 4 days of finals, and it's summertime. I'm great.
You could feel it in the air right now.
We did a big lab today. It's like that marks the end of the school year.
Nice.
It's beautiful out. You can feel it in the air, as Cam said. Sorry, this is too much, but I listened to Summer Friends today by Chance the Rapper, and it just reminded me of this time, like whenever that song came out. And it's just this and views. It's that time of year.
It was
I
May
love it, man.
that year, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? Because that was
Yeah.
around the time we went to. No, that was a little bit before we went to Chicago.
Chicago.
But it was
I
like
think
around
it
the
was
same
around that
time
time.
as
It was around that
Views, right?
It was the road trip year.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was.
No, great picks, Ken. I got to revisit those. But we also got a dog.
Hey,
How you doing, man?
doing fine.
Hey, sweet. It's
I
a
never
Monday
have
night here.
I never have anything
What's
to
up?
say in the intro.
Nah, it's okay. I don't have much to say either. But it's a Monday night here, May 12th. We're recording about 8:15 Mountain Time. We got a great show for you guys today. So thanks for being here, Nuggets fans. We're going to do a little bit of a layup line before we get started. The second round of this playoffs has been a banger so far. I've really enjoyed a lot of the series outside of the Nuggets series as well. Pacers take a 3-1 lead on the Cavs. Didn't see that coming. I don't think anybody had that on their bingo card, but those injuries have really halted the Cavs in their pursuit of the title this year. The Knicks just now took a 3-1 lead on the Celtics, and I hate to say it, but it looks like Jason Tatum might have torn his Achilles. It looks bad. He had a great game tonight too, so hopefully that's not what happened. But the Knicks are up on the Celtics 3-1, so that's kind of wild too. Shout out to Ken, he predicted that the Knicks would win this series. Timberwolves and Warriors been super mid, kind of boring. I'm not really enjoying that series without Curry, and the Wolves don't look that impressive either. But guys, what I really want to talk about, I don't know if you have any thoughts on those playoff games, but the lottery was tonight, and I don't know if karma is real or not because the NBA might have just rigged this, but Dallas jumped 10 spots to get the number one overall pick. They had like a 1.8% chance to get it. And Dallas fans, I'm happy for y'all, but I'm not happy for Nico Harrison and that ownership group. They make maybe the worst trade in NBA history, and they hand gift Dallas Mavericks Cooper Flagg, a generational prospect. Guys, thoughts on Cooper Flagg coming to the Western Conference?
I think karma's real for the Mavs fans. So at least there's that.
At least there's that, I guess. It's true. That's true.
Nico might have been cooking this whole time. Who knows?
It wasn't Nico
Time will
cooking.
tell.
We all know this is the handiwork of Adam Silver.
Oh yeah.
Adam Silver behind the scenes, just tapping his fingers together.
I think this is all conspiracy corner, which we can go into.
Conspiracy corner
It-
on the
we
Washed
might have
Kings.
to.
It was
Have a whole
handiwork
episode.
and an inside job. Just don't say hand job.
It's that
was-
type of episode.
Matt, we need to clip that.
Poppy, if you're listening. Yeah, guys, I don't know. I hated this, though. I hate this result. The Spurs get the second pick, which actually might be even more consequential than Cooper Flagg going to the Mavericks because the Spurs have a ton of ammo now and can make a run for Giannis, a serious run for Giannis. So the Western Conference keeps getting better, and the Eastern Conference still sucks, and somehow the Mavericks jumped 10 spots to get Cooper Flagg after trading Luka Doncic. Good for you guys, for you Mavs fans, but not for you, Nico. Not for you, Dallas ownership. You don't deserve it. But we'll move on. We'll get into our show.
It's good for Victor.
Oh yeah, shout out to Vic. We know he's listening. All right,
Yeah,
all right,
Vic,
guys. Let's get
We
into
need to
game.
we need to send this to Vic just so he knows.
Yeah, let's
absolutely.
clip it. Let's clip it and send it out to him. I'm sure he'll appreciate the shout out. So, um, we'll jump into game 4, guys. I did a solo show on Saturday, talking about the night before for game 3, how the Nuggets out executed the Thunder once again, like they did in game 1. And then yesterday, guys, the Nuggets carried a 6-point lead into the fourth quarter, went up by 8 with like 11:26 to go. And after that, the Thunder went on a 21-7 run and led by 6 with about 4 minutes to go. And that run was sparked by Cason Wallace and Aaron Wiggins hitting threes on Denver zone, and the Nuggets could not score in the fourth, including Nikola Jokic, who played another bad game in my opinion. They had chances in those final minutes, but guys, they just couldn't get those big shots to go in this game. They got outscored 29-18 in the fourth quarter. They lost by 5, 92-87. This was a tough pill to swallow because it felt like they really let an opportunity slip through their hands of taking a 3-1 lead and complete control of the series. But I'll throw it out to you guys now. What were the initial thoughts after we lose game 4 yesterday?
I mean, you're happy to go 2-2. I mean, after starting in OKC and then coming back to Denver, I'm not sure most people probably weren't predicting that. And so, coming off of short rest, I think that's going to be something that we talk about a little bit too. I don't think we were expecting the Nuggets to do anything crazy, and you saw that from both teams, especially in the first half. Nobody shot well. First quarter, I mean, combined for 25 points. Nuggets only had 8 of those, tied for the lowest scoring quarter in NBA playoff history. And then the boys caught a little bit of rhythm in the second quarter, ended up winning that quarter 28-25. And then I thought second half came out with better energy, had control, won, outscored 33-21. Vibes were high. And I called you, Cam, and I said, boys are playing fresh and loose going into fourth quarter, and then just came out flat fourth quarter. So a little bit disappointing, but I mean, can't be disappointed 2-2.
I think that it was one of those games beforehand. You just got to win in Denver. Kind of what Pat was saying, but you got to win in Denver, and okay, it'd be great, obviously, if we can go 3-1. But did we really expect them to turn around that quick and get the win? But after watching the game, it's really painful because you knew that we had that game, in the bag. I think that some of my initial takeaways really, I think that this showed a little bit, and I don't want to, start pointing fingers too much, but I think there's a little bit of a lack of adjustments throughout that game. I think that we got a little comfortable, being hit back and forth, getting a lead, and I think that we were sitting in a zone really the whole day.
Oh
And
yeah.
once they started hitting threes, we didn't really change it up a whole lot. And I think that plays to a little bit of the whole Adelman Jokic kind of connection piece. And Adelman obviously being a new coach for the Nuggets, and this is really his first go about it. But I think after having a day to chew on it, think about it, I think I feel a little bit better. Obviously, as Pat said, I'll take 2-2 versus the Thunder, 3-game series. But I think the thing that sucked the most is we were all texting each other, and I was just getting pissed off. They had it, and it was the first time the whole series that we looked like, oh, we can dominate this team, and then we just let the foot off the gas and just kind of got a little too comfortable. So a little bit of frustration. I think that it's something that maybe we need, play with a lead. You don't do very well. Okay, how do we be better in those situations? Because we've been playing from behind, it feels like, this entire postseason. So hopefully we make some adjustments, and anything can happen in a 3-game series.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think being 2-2, you could take the half full or half empty perspective on it. And I think, I don't know what choice we have. I think we have to be optimistic, I think I would rather have, 3-1 right now, but I also would have rather had a 4-0. So, take what you can get. We're playing the number 1 seed, the best team in the league right now. Nobody thought this would be easy. So I think it is showing some cracks in our system, but I think it's also showing some cracks in OKC. Everyone just looked winded. And so I think there's an opportunity there, and I think the toughest team will prevail in the end, and I hope that's us. But I think it kind of comes down to our team looking at this as an opportunity opposed to, getting in our heads. I think it's been worrying seeing how in our heads we are about the refereeing and,
Agreed.
the lack of shots and missing shots and injuries and all the rest. And I think OKC has too much depth, you know? So I think it's easy to get, down bad about this, but I don't know. I think we've been tough in the past, and I think that we have shown we can come back in these types of situations. So I'm hoping for that. So I'm taking the glass half full on this and hoping for a good
sure.
rebound in Game 5.
Yeah, and you know what? After we won and stole game one, all I wanted was for us to win one game of the next three. And they did. And they're 2-2, and that's what I was feeling like after that happened. But man, I can't help but feel a little bit like, man, we could have had that 3-1 lead because it was right there. But I agree. We're going to get into this later when we look ahead, but this series is definitely not over. Like, it's tied 2-2. So, but the biggest thing that stood out to me in game four was that really just the way that the Thunder defends us, and they're just exactly as good as we thought they were, and as that they were advertised. Is they give Jokic way more trouble than I ever thought he would have to deal with. They speed him up. They're making him overthink. They're trying to make him solve the puzzle, right? And they're completely selling out on the middle of the floor and the paint, and they're not letting him get comfortable there at all. And another stat that I saw, that Jokic is averaging 5 assists this series and shooting 39% from the field. So he's not making shots efficiently like we know he can, and he's not getting assists either. So they're just doing a great job overall shutting down what he wants to do. And we love Jokic, and this team would be nowhere without him. But I think it is, harsh or not, I think it's fair to say he needs to be better. Because, what do they say? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Jokic is the best player on the planet, and if he's not playing up to that standard that we expect from him, I think he's got a little bit more to do, and he's just got to make some more shots, really. But I think a lot of the credit should go to the Thunder's defense as well. But Jokic has to rise above it and find a way, I think. Because even if he was like 20% better yesterday, makes 3 or 4 more shots, I think the Nuggets win that game. But aside from Jokic, they're also bottling up Murray and not letting him get to any of the spots that he wants to. Jamal had like a little bit of a Murray flurry in that third quarter where it looked like we were going to pull away and win this game. But he was like 5 of 15 from the field overall. So he's just got to be a little bit better. But I am incredibly impressed and frustrated with how good OKC's defense is, and it's honestly generational. It's exactly what they advertised, and yet the Nuggets could still win this series, guys. But Evan, you mentioned it a little bit. Jokic is also talking to the refs a lot more. He's clearly frustrated out there, making fatigued mistakes, frustrated mistakes. It's wild to see Jokic this upset. But let's do a little bit of talk on Jokic right now. I know I mentioned some things, but what do you feel like he's doing right now? Or just what the frustration pieces are, if he's talking to the refs too much, any of that kind of stuff on Jokic.
He's definitely getting frustrated. I mean, they're the number one defense, and they're playing like it. And I think, I mean, going off of the Clipper series with Zubac, it's a complete different game for Jokic right now. Zubac was guarding him hard. Zubac is a good defender on him. Statistically, he's the best defender on him. Now this series, I think they're smaller, and they're just giving him a harder time. They're playing him more physical. They're getting away with a lot more. And I think that's going into most of Jokic's frustration with them playing him physical and him getting frustrated because he's not getting the call. So I think, and you mentioned too, he's talking to the refs a little too much. It's kind of reminded me of 2024 Jokic from last season, where he's playing 2 games, one against the opponent and the other with the officials. And it's hard to win a game when you're playing against both.
I'm going to put some blame on the officiating, too. I know that's low-hanging fruit, but do you guys follow No Context Nuggets on Instagram? There's, like, a couple of clips from the last game where, like, what was one? Like, Aaron Gordon set a screen for Murray, and then I forget who he was defending against, but the guy just, like, flew on the ground and, like, acted like Gordon pushed him over or something, and they call that. And
it was Dort.
Yeah, it was Dort. Yeah, well, he's having a crappy game otherwise. So
Dort's been pissing me off.
Yeah, so that stuff I think is extremely frustrating because they're going for the cheap stuff. And so, I don't know. I think Jokic can still figure out, like, the chessboard a little bit better. I think this is a big challenge for him, and I think he's capable of it. So, yeah, Matt, Shea is foul baiting. Yeah, but that's their whole game, you know? I forget the stats on free throws from last game, but it was a big part of it. And
I think
I
we
don't know.
led in the free throw department. I'm pretty sure it might have evened up closer to the end. But yeah,
Yeah, fair
it's
enough.
just not being officiated. Every game is being officiated a different way, and that's extremely
Yeah,
frustrating to watch. But Ken
yeah.
or whoever
Well,
else.
I want to tie that back to Jokic real quick too, because Jokic definitely gets the uh, how shall I say, the crappy end of that, because he can just get shoved around and beat up, and we know this. But I think it's finally getting to him a bit because he can't do anything in the paint, and yeah, I don't know. So on to you, Ken.
I think for Yoke, especially coming off that Clippers series, I mean, he was frustrated that whole series as well. And I think after watching game one, we were like, oh, this is going to be a walk in the park. He just dropped 40 against, Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein. And, this nothing compared to Zubats and all the adjustments. And this is two really good defenses that we've had to face in the last, month, and limited rest and all these things. And I think that he's just grown really frustrated, kind of like all of us have watching, Jokic get hacked. And it's frustrating and it's hard to watch. And obviously, as a fan of the Nuggets and a fan of Jokic, we want to play the blame game. But I do think that there needs to be some sort of accountability on the Nuggets side. And you just got to play through it, And it sounds really easy for us to say and sit here and not, I mean, obviously we're upset, but just get tough or play through it, etc. And I think that it's getting to him, and I think it's getting to the whole team a little bit. Obviously, as you said about Shea and some kind of how the Thunder play, it's just kind of their, how they play. And I think that Shea's low key been not getting as many fouls as he would like as well, but just I think
For
he's
sure.
kind of on this in the same boat as Yoke. I think he's probably growing a little frustrated. Shea just doesn't complain as much, and as much as Jokic does this and
Yeah.
all the actions. Um, but I think that besides the officiating, I think that OKC's really, you know, picking and choosing what Jokic is going to do. And he's not necessarily playing into that hand per se, but they're doing a great job on forcing him to not be able to really get in the paint. They're going to put four guys collapsing on him. And obviously, last game, really the last two games, we haven't shot it great, except for MPJ shot it really well in game three. That's the reason we won game three, really, is MPJ hitting five threes. And,
Aaron Gordon's like the only guy hitting
yes,
shots.
yes. I keep forgetting about AG just because he's been so consistent. But
I think we live and die by MPJ going forward. Him or
Low-key,
Murray. If we
always
spread
has
out the
been.
floor, I think Jokic gets back into form and
Yes. I mean,
Mike
Jokic
was a
can
huge
dominate
positive.
when he's got some spacing,
Mhm.
For
and
sure. And I think and Mike was a huge
yeah.
plus minus positive. He didn't play a good game, but I think just him being out there inherently gives the Nuggets a little bit more room.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
he
huge.
was a plus 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Wasn't good,
so
but
I think but that's what they're wanting us to get. They're wanting us to get threes from a CB, a Russ, and obviously the beginning of Game 4 was just brutal to watch from both sides. I mean, neither team were getting baskets. We were only scoring really from the free throw line. But I also one point I did want to make just from watching the games. Obviously, we're biased Nuggets fans, but the fouls. Yes, Denver has been getting more free throws, but a lot of those are like Denver gets the ball in the paint and they just foul. And that's kind of their
they're
game
earning
plan, I think,
those.
sometimes too. So, but obviously, it's been frustrating for Yoke, and I've been really harsh on him just in our group chat because I know he can be so much better
Same.
and how important that is. So, I've been frustrated, but I need to be maybe spreading a little bit more positivity on the guy. But he's kind of gone two stinkers, and that both came out. Game three, showing up in the Joker suit. And then game four, what's he do for the game? He finally gets a haircut, which is usually a legendary Jokic night.
Yep.
So he needs to just maybe go get a little sunburn at the pool or something. Just reset because we need that man back
Game two,
soon.
he was rough as well. I mean, we got blown out. Nobody played well, but yeah, it is 3 games in a row. Jokic not looking like himself and certainly playing below his standard, certainly below the standard of the best player on the planet. And listen, there's a lot of superstars in the playoffs right now that aren't playing well. Like there's been a very much up and down stuff we've seen from superstars game to game. Like nobody's really showing up every night. So some of that's getting masked a little bit, but we still got to believe in Jokic, of course, and we will. We're going to talk a little bit more about that when we get into the second segment. But real quick, before we just to put a pin in this segment, I wanted to mention our defense real quick, and something that you mentioned a little bit earlier, Kennedy, with the maybe some slow adjustments and something with the zone, because I think the Nuggets defense has been really good in this series, especially making things hard for SGA and not letting him get to his spots as much and not fouling him. But to open the fourth quarter, when the Nuggets let go of the rope in this game, I hated this. Jokic was out for rest, right? He was getting his minutes to sit, and SGA was out too. So Denver has a switchable lineup on defense, and the SGA is out. So why on earth did they stay in their zone? It's a perfect opportunity to go to man, especially because SGA isn't out there to exploit it, and Jokic isn't out there, so Denver would be able to switch on everything. And guess what? That zone left Wallace and Wiggins open just for a little bit, and those are good shooters, and they nailed them. And Denver's defense was great in a lot of pockets of yesterday, but I have no idea why they were so reluctant to switch to man in a situation like that, or just mix it up a little bit more, especially with SGA off the floor. Because the Thunder's role players, Caruso, Wallace, Wiggins, they won them this game. Those guys combined for 8 for 14 from the field or from beyond the arc, and the Thunder made 10 threes, and 8 of them came from those 3 guys. So that was just a weird spot to me with the zone, and we noticed that too. We were watching with Poppy and TK and BK for Mother's Day. But yeah, I don't know, just a weird one.
Yeah, it's so hard because the defense has showed up this series, and especially in the last game too. And it's like it's almost a missed opportunity when your defense shows up and the offense doesn't, especially against a great team like OKC. Ev mentioned that they're probably the best team in the NBA right now, and when your defense shows up and your offense doesn't, man, it's tough.
And they
limiting
did. I
guys
just
like
don't know
Shea,
why.
they're doing the same thing with Jokic. The margins
For
are
sure.
so thin to where you got to take advantage of the opportunities.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't know if we were heading back to a break soon. But and Cameron says his Wi-Fi is also maybe a little bad. But I think that we just got to capitalize on that defense, as Pat said. It's been great, and that's kind of a weird thing to say after it being such a rough season defensively. But again, I think it's 2 teams playing the game of, all right, we're going to do everything we can to shut down your best guy, and role players are going to have to step up and win. Who's going to be better, Jalen Williams or Jamal Murray? And it's kind of funny because outside of Game 3 for J-Dub, like, neither of them have been great. So it's really coming down to guys like a Caruso, even the guys off the bench for OKC. You know, what bench production are we getting? Russ had, not the best night, but he's got to be big every night. He's got to be putting up 15, 12 points, something like that, and doing a good job defensively. So it's going to come down to those role players, which is tough. And if Jokic can figure out just a little bit more than Shea can figure it out, I think that we can do some good things.
Yeah. But you know what? Denver looked absolutely gassed. I know that was touched upon a little bit too. They definitely looked tired at the end of this game. And screw the NBA for scheduling the Nuggets to play the late night game on Friday night and then have them turn around and play at 1:30 on Sunday for like a 36 hours of rest or whatever. And
It's
of course,
horrible.
that's going to favor the younger and deeper team with OKC. And maybe you could say it sucks to be you Nuggets, but that's just so dumb that they did that. And the East Coast game played after them. I don't know why it was scheduled
it made no
the way
sense.
it was. Made no
No
sense.
sense.
But nonetheless, we'll get on to segment
Yeah.
2 to close up the show, unless you guys have any more thoughts on segment 1 and the things we touched on. All right. Well, really, we're just going to talk about what we expect moving forward. I'm going to still believe in Jokic, and that's what a lot of this conversation today has been about, is Jokic. The 3 bad games, of course, but he's going to be back. He's still the best bet in like all of sports, man. I believe in him. I guess we'll just take it to what you guys think is going to happen. Now it's a 3-game series, 2 of them on the road in OKC. Game 7 would be in OKC, but the Nuggets have an opportunity to still win this series. It's easy to feel down about what happened last game, but I still want to feel positive as well and optimistic. So what are the optimistic spins, and what should Nuggets fans be feeling good about going forward? Or do you think it's going to be bad? I guess we'll just ask that.
Best case scenario, steal 1 tomorrow and then win in 6. I think it gets hard if you don't like a 7-game series. I don't think favors us very well. So
Yeah. It would be great to win it at home too. I think that's like you said, Evan. I think that is your best chance. However, I don't think it's the only chance that they have. I don't know. It's going to be tough going back to OKC to steal one, and I mean they can steal one. I mean they've done it before, and I think that they can do it again. So I think the way it'll go, I think home game advantage the next two games. So OKC wins the next one, Nuggets win the next one, goes to game 7, and it's going to be a toss up. But
Anything can happen.
my optimistic take is Nuggets in 7.
I'm going to stick with my gut with the whole Nuggets and 6 piece as tough as it's been. I think
Do you still have the note card?
I do. I don't know where it is though. It's somewhere on this desk.
Okay.
I
Ken's
was
ready
going to
to
pull
have
it out
game.
later, but
Find it after your
I'll
point.
have to
Yeah.
write a new one up. No, I still believe in them, and I'm going to keep being positive. I'm going to keep believing. I think that if you told me again, as I said earlier, if this is a 2-2 series, I'd still be believing. I think the piece of going to OKC twice is scary. I think the Nuggets got to be feeling that, and they got to be thinking, we got to get out and get a win tomorrow in OKC and bring this thing back home, so we don't have to bring this to a game 7 back in OKC. So hopefully that sense of urgency is there. I think that it plays, and I don't think that this is really going to be too effective, against OKC, but they're kind of in the comfortable spot. They won one not comfortable, but they won one on the road. They're heading back home, and they know that if they lose, they can still bring it back to OKC. So I think that piece that every single game that one of the announcers says, backs against the wall, and they needed this win. There's a sense of urgency. I'm hoping that the Nuggets have that advantage starting tomorrow, and I think that OKC might be able to let up a little bit, but God knows what can happen. Last time in that building, it was just a blowout. So you never know what can happen. I'm going to keep being positive. Just a tiny bit, as you said, Cam, a 3 to 4% better game from Jokic can help us scratch away. So I'm believing. I think that I'm going to keep, as you said, just betting on the best man in the world. So I'm hoping he can do it, and I'm hoping we can get out of there tomorrow night with a win.
And I think Jokic too I think he's pretty self-critical, like kind of in a good way, like he's aware of what he's doing. He knows when he needs to be better. He's not like a arrogant airhead. So I think he'll make adjustments where he can. And there you go, Ken.
Nuggets and 6 card is up for the Apple Podcast listeners and Spotify listeners. Ken's famous Nuggets and 6 card. Yeah, no, good point, Ev. I think Jokic knows and is aware of the moment. Obviously, he wants to play better, and he knows that his team needs him. But yeah, guys, I think one of the keys, though, that I've been harping on is that the Nuggets need to keep playing the style of games that they've won in the playoffs so far. They need to keep making these games ugly and muddy, I think. I just don't think they're going to win these games pretty. So they need to keep pulling OKC down into the mud, make it a rock fight, and I think that's how they're going to win, which is why it was so shocking that they lost last game, because that's exactly what it was. It was a rock fight in the mud, but they got to keep with that formula, because if they let go of the rope, OKC is prone to take these 20, 30-point leads like we saw in game 2, and they're just so good that their variance of the ways that they can score the basketball and defend you are just so high, and they have such a good chance of winning basketball games. So the Nuggets need to make this ugly, keep up that defense. Jokic will show up, I believe it. Also, another point that I saw before we hopped on, the Nuggets went 0 for 15 from the corners last game. They didn't make a single corner shot, and they're a pretty good corner 3-point shooting team. And guess what? The Thunder allow, I think, some of the most corner threes in the league this year. So that's actually encouraging to me, because a lot of those were wide open. They were. So if you just make a couple, you lose by 5, you make 2 more, you win the game by 1, right? I mean, it's not always that simple, but I like the shots that they got overall in the game. They just didn't go down. So it makes me kind of feel a little bit positive toward what they can achieve in hopefully next game, hopefully.
That's an interesting stat you bring up about the corner threes, especially. I mean, I think Nuggets aren't a great 3-point shooting team, but a handful of their 3-pointers do come from the corners. I mean, think about guys like, AG, Russ off the bench. Even Porter and Watson off the bench too. You see a lot of those guys, when they hit threes, it's in that corner. So that is kind of encouraging, like you said.
They were open.
I like Evan. Yeah,
a lot of them.
And Ev, I like the point you said about Jokic, about he knows when to turn it on, and I think he's just got to be aggressive early. I mean, too many times we see it more in the regular season where he's timid early, he's passing up shots, he's not in takeover mode early, and we need that from the get go.
He
Otherwise,
can't be a reluctant 3-point shooter either.
yeah, especially you're gonna waste fresh minutes like early in the game. That's the best you're gonna feel. Why not heat up early?
Yeah. I agree with that. I think it's kind of funny that they've been trying to warm up the support players early on. Like, I get the thinking behind that, but doesn't our team just do better when Jokic is playing well?
Yep.
You know? So why not start the other way?
No, I think
Well,
that's a
team
great
three.
point. I think that, that's just how we do it sometimes, and he's always trying to hit, find the extra open man, make the extra pass. And I think, Pat, your point on, that's when you're going to be feeling the most rested, the best you're going to be feeling probably all night. And I think that really in game one, when we played pretty well, I feel like Jokic came out pretty good, and he scored his 40 points in the total game. But I think that we just can't give in to, giving up so many shots. Not giving up, but we're getting so many open looks. Got to make a couple of those, and then if you make a couple of threes, it stretches the defense. That's been shown. It's been proven by the Nuggets multiple times. If Mike can hit 1 3, 2 threes, if somebody else can give a little bit early on, it changes the whole game plan and it allows Jokic to work. So I think if we can have him aggressive early and just have somebody run in alongside with him a little bit, it can go a long ways. So I'm hoping for a good first quarter tomorrow, because I think that's going to be a big piece. And then I think that they have to actually go into the fourth quarter losing. That seems to be their success, their key to success. So maybe not having a lead into the fourth.
Yeah, you mentioned in our text, Bear, you go, it feels wrong to be leading going into the fourth. And you might be right. This team is best when their backs are against the wall. Unfortunately, it's that way, but
I don't want the heart attacks anymore, man.
Which makes you feel good, though, that the series is going as long as it is, because it always feels good to know that the Nuggets show up in these spots, minus last year. But that Jamal stretch in the third where he got the three, he shook him off, and then he was getting all hyped. He was getting in it with the crowd. That reminded me of like Game 1 versus the Suns in the championship year, where he said, "We're ready for this. We're ready for this." He was saying that to the crowd, and I was like, so hoping that moment was going to be resonating with us after this game, because we're going to be like, that was the moment we won the game, and took a 3-1 lead on the Oklahoma City Thunder. But yeah, guys, you got to believe in this team. Jokic, let's not play into the ref stuff either. I know how frustrating that is, but I just hope Jokic kind of chills out a little bit. And like you said, Ken, it's hard to say that as we're guys that just watch these games and aren't actually playing them. But Jokic, just be that guy,
Absolutely.
Oh,
I think we should. Yeah, I think we should talk about Aaron Gordon a little bit too. I feel like, and Bear mentioned it briefly, he's been the most consistent player this series, and I
think our most valuable player this series.
He's called Mr. Nugget for a reason, and not only the series but in the playoffs as a whole. He's been clutch. Had a clutch 3 in this last game as well. Two game winners obviously in the playoffs. So let's shine a light a little bit on AG.
I think with the AG piece, it's him also getting physical in the paint. I feel like a lot of his stuff's been coming, and this is the whole Nuggets team from the perimeter. We shot the least amount of threes, I think, in the NBA this year, and we're shooting way more than average. And that's, again, pointing back to my point about the OKC. They're giving us exactly what they want. They don't want us getting layups and getting in the paint. They're going to pack the paint and make us shoot threes. So love to see even AG get into the rim, but he's been awesome. He's been working his ass off defensively. He's been rebounding. I think he's really been the one guy that said, okay, Yoke's struggling a little bit, or we need a little extra help here. I think that a guy like Jamal, he needs to also kind of accept the fact that he's got to be a little bit better. And I think we were talking before the pod, and Matt brought up the point about Jamal being like a plus 37 or something when he's on the floor, and then when he's off the floor, the Nuggets are pretty bad. And we don't ever talk about the non-Jamal minutes, but now it's becoming a real thing for us to think about. And obviously, I think some of that, is going to relate to him and Jokic working together. But I think that when he's off the floor, who's going to be producing? I think Westbrook, we don't rely on him to be a huge shooter by any means, but still him getting aggressive, getting to the rim, getting guys like CB. I just feel like CB hasn't been that cutter, that at the rim kind of guy that we're used to seeing, because they've done such a good job limiting us in transition as well. But I think CB's kind of getting a little comfortable on the three-point line. I think everybody's getting a little comfortable on the three-point line, which is exactly what they want us to do. So hopefully we can make some adjustments this next game, and we'll see.
Yeah, they're daring us to shoot.
It's exactly what they want from us, right? But yeah, Pat, I mean, good for you to call out AG. We didn't really spend that much time on him, but he's been incredible. I think he's the guy in the team this year that's taken the biggest bump from like a national media scale, like people respecting him. He is like where he sits in the hierarchy of the NBA is like jumping as we speak, because all the pods I listen to, all the national media guys, Bill Simmons, all them, they're just like so wildly impressed with Aaron Gordon. They love his game. They love what he's about and what he does, the defense, the shooting, jump. All of it has been so impressive, and we would not be anywhere without Aaron Gordon this series and then this playoffs. He's probably the most valuable player for the Nuggets in this postseason as a whole. I mean, of course, it's always going to be Jokic, but like without AG, they're nothing.
I think arguably more AG at this point.
Yeah, you could make a total argument for it, for sure. But any more thoughts? I guess we're about done here. So any guys you want to shine a light on? Actually, I got one more question. Just we'll answer it real quick. Who do you think's more likely to crack the other defense? Do you think SGA is going to crack the Nuggets defense first, or do you think Jokic is going to figure it out?
Jokic.
It's got to be Jokic.
Yeah. I'm putting money on him if I'm putting money on anybody.
Yeah, it's got to be Jokic.
He's the best player in the world.
I'm gonna believe in him. I really am, and I hope he proves all my shit talking wrong. I've been pretty mad at him, so I've been trying to do the whole talk crap about him that we've done with Jamal in the past, and it works. Yeah. So maybe he's just a little bit of a late bloomer to it, but we need him.
I'm more prone to say that SGA is going to crack our defense quicker, but that's not anything to say against Yoke, because it's more what I think about OKC's defense. But at the same time, it is Yoke. He's the ultimate puzzle solver, the ultimate chess player. Like in a thinking man sport, that's the guy you want on your team. So I will take Jokic in that as well. Nuggets in 7. I'm going to say Nuggets in 7. I didn't really give a pick earlier in the earlier segment, but that's what I'm going to go with. I think they're going to win the series still. I still feel good about it.
I like it. Super producer Matt has Nuggets in 6. I think Bear has Nuggets 6. Ev has Nuggets in 6. I have Nuggets in 7. Cam has Nuggets in 7.
I like it.
So,
dude, if they win in 6,
the pod is split.
Crazy. The boys believe, and why shouldn't you believe? This team's given us too much over the last few years.
Yeah. What else are we gonna do?
It's like, well, right. I mean, that's what it is to be a fan, though. Why not be hopeful? And optimistic and excited, and then feel all the pains and the lows of the losses too. You know, I mean, that's just what it's all about, right? So, got to shoot high and shoot for the moon.
And you know, we're not supposed to win this series too. Like we've said it before, we're kind of playing with house money.
True.
I mean, going into this series, OKC was minus 900 on the sports books. Which is just laughable. Like we're not supposed to be tied to right
we
now.
weren't supposed to win the first series.
Keep doubting.
Everybody
us.
picked the Clippers. And you know what? Not to get too big picture here, because we obviously still got to handle business, but man, if you get past this series, like I got to think the winner of this series goes to the finals, and I truly believe it. Even though our matchup versus the Timberwolves is a nightmare, they just look so mid to me right now. So like I just feel like the opportunity is there to maybe make a finals run here. As the Western Conference gets better and better, with Cooper Flag and Giannis probably going to be traded here soon too. So this might be the opportunity in time to take and win another championship.
Which is crazy, because a month ago we were thinking this season was over and we were going to move on. Yeah, but I agree completely.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, anything's possible with a guy like Jokic on the floor, and we're going to keep believing in him. So hopefully that proves to be true. I do want to ask you guys, though, who's got a bold take or a bold, expectation, something that you see that's going to happen tomorrow night? What's your prediction?
I think Russ comes alive. I think he wills the win. That man, I think, would drag the entire team to the finish line if he could, and I think he will.
Pat, you got one?
Yeah, mine is that both Jokic and SGA have a 40-point game. Neither of them have had really any spectacular games, and I think they both know that they got to step it up. And I think it's going to happen.
MVP off tomorrow
It's
night.
going to be an MVP off tomorrow night in OKC, and it's going to be awesome.
My
Fans are
Wi-Fi
gonna
is
be
being
loud.
shaky. I don't know if you guys can even hear me, but I'm going to go with Jamal 30-piece. That feels really hot to say right now. I'm going to say Jamal gets loose, and I don't know, he's going to find a way. That one might age the worst, but that's going to be my hot take.
I think that the Nuggets get a FaceTime from Michael Malone, and he just starts ripping them a new one, and they show up tomorrow night, and they're just fired up.
Put that
Matt goes,
smoke it.
No.
Matt goes, Jokic drops 50. Matt
was a
yeah.
Yoke drops
love that.
50.
I love that.
I'm gonna go with tomorrow being. I'm with you, Cam. Tomorrow's gonna be a Jamal night.
Let's go. Yes.
I think it's gonna be a Jamal night, and it's gonna open Jokic up a little bit. So that's my hope.
MPJ gets the shot. MPJ gets the shot in his shoulder and goes for 30.
Every other day, Michael Porter Jr.
We're not talking about a vaccine, are we?
Oh, he's not getting that shot.
What's that power up in Black Ops where you like, then like you start running faster?
Yeah.
He's got the splash.
He's got the stim shot.
Oh yeah,
the stim shot. Yeah,
in Fortnite.
I also
This was
feel like
last-
whenever we're on TNT, we play better. That's my hope.
Oh, and
So,
the jerseys. The jerseys.
Yes.
What do they got tomorrow? Is it the Mile High Cities?
I think so.
Let me
Yeah.
look real
Yeah,
quick.
and they're like 3-0 in those. I think they're 0-2 in the navies.
Yeah.
It is the
Navies.
Mile High Cities.
Let's
Navies
go.
need to go.
Game-
Navies need to go.
Game 7, 52-80s. They won their one game against the Clippers in the 52-80s.
I think that Jamal's gonna answer to Shaq finally too. Because
Yeah, and
Shaq
then
was
Jack's
really
gonna
weird
take all the
about that.
credit.
But
He's gonna take all the credit.
That it's so annoying.
so annoying.
I got one more question
Punk.
before we head out. Bill Simmons and who is he talking to? Russillo. We're like, Malone's rooting for the Nuggets.
I heard Bill Simmons and Russillo.
Oh gosh, my Wi-Fi
There he
is
is.
cutting out there a little bit.
Go ahead.
Try again.
I can hear you now.
Try again.
Am I back? Am I back? Is Mike
Yeah.
Malone rooting for the Nuggets? Is the question they posed. Do you think he's rooting for
I
the
heard that.
Nuggets, or is he spiteful?
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I bet he is.
Dude's
too.
got Maxie the Miner tattooed on his arm. He's a Nugget for life.
They were skeptical about it. I was like, no, guys. I guarantee Mike Malone is still rooting for the guys.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, and they did make a good point. It's like in human nature, like
You get
I
fired.
don't know, I think
you're a competitive guy.
yeah, like. But I mean, I could see him like rooting against him, but it's Mike. Like these are his guys. These are his boys.
I was just gonna say, like, he's seen these dudes grow up. There's no way that he's mad at them. He's more mad at management, but he's definitely pulling for his dudes still.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's
Agreed
not rooting
100%.
for them so the Cronkies have another win. He wants to see Jokic have another win. Yeah.
Right. And he
Yeah.
wants Jamal. Like unless the relationships there were worse than we thought, but I doubt it. Yeah, I agree. Any more thoughts before we get out of here, guys?
Would Malone get a ring?
Oh God, do you
Yeah.
think he would accept the ring?
Yeah. Him and Booth, I think, would get offered, right?
I think so.
They would get get
deserves-
offered.
Yeah.
I just would he accept?
Hey,
it?
if Bones Highland got a ring, Michael Malone better get a ring.
Bones
That's
actually
what I'm
Thomas-
Can we get that back?
Thomas Bryant got a ring. Nuggets legend,
That's
by the
true.
way.
I don't know if Bones
We need to
actually
re-sign
accepted the
Thomas
ring.
Bryant.
It's funny because I was listening to the pod, that same pod, and I thought that they
Oh, yeah.
asked, like, is he, and I misheard it. I thought they said something along the lines is like, would he get a ring instead of, is he rooting? So I
Oh.
thought, I was like, oh. And then
Yeah.
I like rewinded. I was like, oh, yeah.
That's a
But
good
it's-
question.
That's why I'm bringing up that question.
You got to know he's happy for Adelman too. That he's had a
Yeah,
little bit of a run
100%.
here.
Yeah.
All right,
Anyways.
fellas. Yeah, we'll head out now. Thanks for everybody for tuning in. Your go-to spot for Nuggets content, the Washed Kings. We'll be here no matter what happens, even if it's bad or if it's great. We'll be here right away for a reaction show, maybe. But you can catch us on IG and TikTok at the Washed Kings Pod on Instagram and at the Washed Kings on TikTok. And fellas, that was fun. Good talking to you all. Matt, you can hit that outro music, and let's go Nuggets. Nuggets to 7.
Keep battling the cave, baby.